A sudden accident forces Deep to face a life-threatening situation, but James is always by her side during the darkest moments. Will love and sacrifice help her overcome every challenge? Stay tuned for this emotional story. Deep, a young and determined woman, was working hard at James's company, where her boyfriend loved her deeply. One day, after a late night working hard to finish tasks, Deep got into a serious traffic accident. She was badly injured and lost a lot of blood. James never left her side in the hospital, always by her bed, taking care of her and worrying about her health. When Deep woke up in the hospital, she realized that this man had been there for her, never leaving her side for a moment. Though her physical wounds could heal, James knew she needed time to recover emotionally. After she recovered, James proposed, wanting to take care of her for the rest of his life. Moved, Deep agreed, and they decided to hold their wedding at the end of the year. This is a story of love, sacrifice, and resilience. Together, they have overcome challenges, and now they are about to embark on a new chapter, where their love will continue to grow. If you enjoyed this story and want to see more episodes, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. It was close to midnight when the office building fell silent, the only light coming from the faint glow of the 6th floor, where Light 2 Deep had just turned off her desk lamp. The young woman stepped out of the elevator, tired but satisfied. Having only been with the company for 3 months, Deep had quickly proven her capabilities, especially during this critical phase of a large project the company was about to launch. She knew she was still lacking in experience, but that was exactly why she didn't want her boyfriend and boss, James, to shoulder everything alone. James never asked her to stay late. In fact, many times he told her, "Go home early, your health is more important." But Deep always smiled and replied, "I'm fine. I want to help you." So tonight, she was the last one to leave the office. Her scooter glided through the empty streets, the streetlights casting long, blurry shadows. The cool light breeze blew through her jacket, but Deep's mind was still occupied with the report she had just finished. She didn't realize that behind her, a black car had been tailing her ever since she left the company building. The roads gradually became more deserted. As she turned a corner near the riverbank, a place with no security cameras, the car behind her suddenly sped up. The headlights flashed directly into her eyes. In an instant, before she could react, the car slammed into the back of hers. The violent impact caused her scooter to slide across the road and crash into a lamp post before it toppled onto its side. Her head slammed into the handlebar, her vision blurred, her ears ringing from the sound of crunching metal. Blood began to pool on her forehead. Before losing consciousness, she vaguely saw a figure stepping out of the car, but within moments, everything faded into complete darkness. The mysterious car sped off into the night, leaving no trace behind. The news of Deep's accident reached James at 12:10 a.m. He was reviewing the launch plan for a new campaign when his phone rang incessantly. The voice on the other end said, "Is this Mr. James? Or calling from Cho Ray Hospital? A lie too deep, an employee at your company, was just brought in for emergency treatment. Her condition is critical, and she has lost a lot of blood. We need a blood transfusion of the rare AB negative type." James froze. The name, Deep, she had just left the office, had kissed him goodbye only 2 hours earlier. Now, she was lying unconscious in the hospital, teetering between life and death. Without hesitation, James rushed out of the office and sped toward the hospital, driving like a man possessed through the quiet, rainy streets. There was only one thought repeating in his mind: I have to get to her. I have to keep her alive. No matter what. When he arrived, the doctors informed him that Deep's blood type was extremely rare, and the hospital's blood bank wasn't enough. Without a second thought, James immediately volunteered to donate blood. He felt a sense of relief wash over him when he found out that his blood type was a match. Without even asking again, he extended his arm to the doctor, saying, "Take as much as you need. As long as she lives." Blood began to flow from James' veins into the transfusion bag, then into Deep's body, which lay still in the emergency room. He stood by the glass window, clutching her cold hand, whispering as though praying, "Deep, you have to survive. I haven't even had the chance to propose to you yet." The rain outside the hospital gradually stopped, and the atmosphere inside was eerily quiet. In the hospital room, the only sounds were the beeping of machines and the footsteps of doctors and nurses moving about. Like too Deep lay motionless on the bed, her small body covered with 4 drips and oxygen tubes. The wound on her forehead had been bandaged, but the bruises on her face couldn't hide the frailty she now embodied. James' heart tightened every time he saw his beloved lying so still. He hadn't left the hospital, he hadn't gone home. He had only slept fitfully on the chair next to her bed, always holding her hand tightly, as if afraid that even a second of carelessness would make her slip away forever. The hours passed, but he didn't feel tired. His thoughts were consumed by one thing: Deep, you have to wake up. You have to survive. On the 3rd day, as the first rays of morning light streamed through the hospital window, Deep's eyes slowly opened. The first thing she felt was the smell of antiseptic, the strange sounds of machines, and the familiar figure sitting beside her. James was still there, his face tired but filled with worry. His eyes seemed unable to leave her. You're awake?" Deep whispered weakly. James was startled. He immediately grasped her hand, tears streaming down his face. He choked up. "You made me so worried. I thought I was going to lose you." Deep smiled faintly, trying to sit up, but her body was still too weak. James quickly supported her, gently saying, "Don't try to move. You need to rest and recover. I can't lose you, Deep." She looked up at him, her eyes filled with love and gratitude. The warmth in her heart was all because of him, the one who had always been by her side, taking care of her, loving her unconditionally. The reason she was fighting to stay alive, the reason she was waking up, was because of that love. During the days of Deep's recovery, James didn't leave her side. He took care of her meals, her water, always there whenever she needed him. Sometimes, when she wanted to rest alone, he would quietly sit outside her room, his eyes never leaving her. Deep knew. He loved her with all his heart. The love James had for her wasn't just in words, it was in actions, in sacrifices, without asking for anything in return. She knew he had given so much, and now, she wanted to do something in return for that love. A week after the accident, the doctor announced that Deep had recovered well and could be discharged from the hospital. James was so happy that he couldn't hide his emotions. He smiled at her, but in his heart, there was something he couldn't ignore. He knew he couldn't wait any longer. He couldn't let her go without telling her how he truly felt. The day Deep was discharged, James took her home. He told her to sit on the sofa while he stepped out for a moment. When he returned, he was holding a small box in his hand, and inside it was a sparkling diamond ring. Deep, his voice lowered as he opened the box, revealing the ring he had carefully chosen. I can't imagine my life without you. I've been afraid, so afraid that one day, you would leave me. But I realized that if I don't take this chance now, I'll never have you. Deep looked at him, her eyes shining with happiness, yet full of emotion. She could feel the sincerity in every word James said. Even though her body was still weak, her heart had already completely belonged to him. James, I love you. I've loved you for a long time. She smiled, tears rolling down her cheeks. I agree. James could no longer hold back his emotions. He gently slid the ring onto her finger, then pulled her into his arms, burying his face in her hair and whispering, "Thank you, Deep. Thank you for giving me a chance to love you. I promise I will protect you and love you forever." They stood there, wrapped in each other's arms, as if the world around them had faded away. In that moment, there was no accident, no pain, only their love, complete and whole, and a promise made from heart to heart. One week after the accident, Light 2 Deep had recovered well enough to be discharged from the hospital. The suffocating air of the hospital room was gradually replaced by the fresh atmosphere of early spring. Outside the window, the first weak rays of sunlight bathed everything in a warm glow. On the day Deep was released from the hospital, James couldn't hide his immense joy. He had been waiting for this moment for a whole week, each day praying that she would wake up and recover completely. Though Deep had been discharged, James still felt a lingering concern. He knew that physical wounds could heal, but the emotional scars in Deep's heart might take longer to mend. When he saw her standing up and walking, albeit weakly, he felt a heavy burden lift from his chest. "Are you okay?" James asked tenderly, his eyes never leaving her, carefully observing her every move as if afraid she might fall. Deep smiled at him, her voice soft but filled with warmth. "I'm fine now. Thank you for always being there for me, taking care of me every step of the way. You're the best thing that's ever happened to me." James tightly grasped her hand, his eyes shining with happiness that he couldn't conceal. He had waited so long for this moment, and now, the woman he loved was safe, had recovered, and was standing right in front of him, smiling. As they stepped out of the hospital, the air outside was cold, but James felt an unusual warmth in his heart. He carefully helped her into the car and ensured she was safely buckled in. As the car began to drive, Deep sat beside him, naturally resting her head on his shoulder. She could feel the warmth of his presence, like a solid support, a place she could lean on any time. After a few moments of silence, James suddenly spoke, his voice dropping in tone. "Deep, there's something I want to ask you." Deep looked up at him, noticing a trace of concern in his eyes, though they were also filled with sincerity. "What is it, James?" she asked, feeling a little uneasy about his unexpected question. "I want to marry you," James said simply, but each word seemed to carry 1,000 emotions. "You know, I can't live without you. I want to take care of you, be by your side not just through the difficult times but also during the joyful moments. I think we should get married." Deep looked at him, her eyes softening with love. Her heart suddenly felt full of happiness. James' proposal didn't surprise her, as she had felt his deep love for her long before. She had loved him, trusted him, and now, his question made her heart race with joy. Deep hesitated, but her smile grew brighter and brighter. "I agree. I want to be with you forever. You've given me so much, and now I want to spend the rest of my life loving you." James felt like his heart had just exploded with joy. He couldn't believe his ears, but when he looked into Deep's eyes and saw her smile, he knew it was real. The love they shared, all that they had been through, had brought them to this moment where everything felt perfect. "Then let's have our wedding at the end of this year, okay?" James said, his voice filled with pride and joy. Deep immediately nodded, her eyes shining with happiness. "Yes, at the end of this year. I promise we'll build a life together, full of love and sweet moments." The car continued down the road, but now there was no worry, no more weight on James' heart. All that remained was joy, the light of happiness shining down on their path. At the end of this year, their wedding would mark the beginning of a new chapter in their lives. It would be the day they would officially become a part of each other's world, a day they would both cherish for the rest of their lives. They both dreamed of the future, of the home they would build together, and the happy life they would share, knowing that nothing could ever tear them apart. The story of Deep and James is an emotional journey of love, sacrifice, and resilience. Despite facing great challenges, especially Deep's serious accident, the love that James has for her became the strength that helped her overcome all hardships. James's dedication and sacrifice demonstrate a sincere and deep love, one that is always by her side during the most difficult times. This story is not only a beautiful love journey but also a lesson in strength in life. Although physical wounds may heal over time, emotional support and true love can help people overcome any challenge in life. James and Deep have proven that when love is genuine, it can make us stronger, help us overcome pain, and find happiness. It is a story worth reflecting on, highlighting the value of true love and sacrifice in a relationship, offering hope and faith in the beautiful things life has to offer.